Can I record this?
Yes, oh, yes, certainly. For me, one of the great graces was to work with Brian Burke in the lay apostolate here in Australia. He was chaplain to the girls' movement, but I believe that if he'd been given the right encouragement, that he could have taken over as I thought as a bishop, certainly as a priest in charge of Catholic Action. I think there was two things that inhibited him in this. One was the fact of the chaplains going to live together in Caulfield. I stayed there a couple of times, and it was I think in a case of them bringing their failures more than their successes together, and also of the chaplains beginning to take on the job of the workers, boys and girls, and they often approached factories themselves, and I thought that was a great pity, and so that and Burke was a bit disillusioned himself. Now, then he was appointed to Brussels, and I saw him in 1970 when I made my first ad limina visit, and stayed with him and Cyril Halley for a few days, and then I didn't see Burke again because he left, and he was the reason he was giving me at that time that it was impossible to keep his position was that there were bishops in Brazil who were backing the government in their imprisonment and torture in many cases of young Christian workers, and he protested to the Pope about this, and he got a good hearing, but somehow or another what didn't change very much, and Burke got more disillusioned. And that was, I felt very sad about that. And then he went to Canada, and he worked, and he was never did things by halves. He went into the toughest possible industry in the motor industry, the production, and whereas he always had a bad back, as an adult,
so even prior to going into the factory, he had a bad back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but he still did it, knowing what would do to him, because he wanted to be with the workers. Which, anyway, but he when I did a retreat in Canada in 1990, about 1990, and I stayed with Burke and Margie Bacon and their daughter, and just for a few days before this retreat and afterwards. It was a 30-day retreat.
Right.
And it was the great days. But then in the year 2008, I went again on a holiday to Canada, and the first time I'd seen Remy de Rue, I didn't see him this time, and Burke was already deteriorating in 1908 with Parkinson's disease very badly, and so I stayed for a month in their house.
I see.
And it was quite deliberately. We were great friends, Burke and I, and Margie too, and their daughter, and it was so that some days Burke would be quite okay for Mass. Other days we'd work it out at breakfast. It wouldn't be a Mass day.
Right.
But most days we had Mass.
I see.
And it was just nice in the afternoon, and then we'd have to help him upstairs to where his bedroom was, and it was quite a problem to get him up the stairs
Right.
at night. And but Burke had been very much a part of the cooperative for housing, the housing cooperative, and it was a very big thing in Canada. Nearly all the public housing was done through this community
Right.
business, and he was involved in the training of the leaders of this movement in all sorts of ways, and he had written about 20 booklets and published them of the writing books in plain language that people could understand, and this be the English-speaking people. And he'd always bring these out to me, and well, quite often bring them out, and they were quite brilliant.
Mm.
But and so he'd finished those by the time I was there. But it was just to, first of all, I think that Margie should have had him put into care before that, but she just loved him and was prepared to take
For
the,
sure, yeah.
And I think that my presence there enabled her to get through that month. You know, not that I'm not very good at moving sick people and that sort of thing.
But yeah, just the friendship and everything.
Yeah, the friendship was there.
When did he die, Brian? Do you know? Remember which year did he die, Brian? I also can't remember now. Anyway,
I reckon it would be about 2011.
Okay, so it's not quite recent, in fact. Yeah, yeah.
Perhaps 10. Yeah, that'd be probably be more 10, because he that was in 2008. It was in the summer, their summer. I was over there, and so then at the end of that year, he was put into a very nice nursing home. I saw it before they went there. They were just looking at them, and he improved in a way in the nursing home, probably because of better nursing. But I shouldn't say that, because Margaret was just nursing wonderfully well. But he improved by the standards they had there, you know, and she visited him every day, and so that he just died. I didn't go over his funeral. I said I wouldn't. But so it was a once-off experience for me. It was nothing heroic. And I'm pretty awkward when it comes to to nursing people, and particularly Burke, because we were great friends.
Yeah.
And so that and we discussed at length the sort of the church's care for young people and sick young people and all sorts of things, and Burke had developed from his YCW and a strong feeling about the growth of young workers, their development, and he would sort of say that this was more important for him than exercising the priestly ministry. He didn't exactly say that. He said that there were two things in his life. He was talking about his dying. Two things in his life that came into full play when we'd have these masses and that. He said the mass. He said it's always been important to me, and yet he said I had to more or less leave the priesthood in order to give myself fully to these young workers. Now, I told him, of course, I didn't believe in that. And he said, "You wouldn't?" I said, "Oh, no, I wouldn't." But so it was an interesting time, and we had lots of fun apart from the serious discussions, and it was nice weather, and I did some very courageous things. I went to the market with Margie. Oh, dreadfuls! buying things at the market.
Yeah. It's a real challenge.
It was a real challenge, and then occasionally I'd ask her if Burke was right for the day. I'd ask her to come out and have a meal, and that was important because she could see me having a sort of a good time, and she was doing the chores. Not exactly the chores, but anyway, she was doing the hard yakka of looking after Becky. And so it just made me very grateful to God for the comparative easy way through life. You know, I didn't have what a lot of other people have, and so I suppose God was looking at various other means of providing that. But yeah, I thought it might be just and I don't believe that we could have had that kind of, I couldn't have gone and lived there for a month if we hadn't been through ICW. Definitely. Yeah. And the number of times, and Margie too, she was very much involved in the French Canadian ICW, but she was just as fluent in English, and yeah, you know that.